Citing Doug Ford's load of crap on his climate action program, climate activists at Extinction Rebellion dumped cow manure in front of Doug Ford's office in Etobicoke. Watch.
Pretty good time.
Ford's plan is absolutely full of shit.
All right. So that was Extinction Rebellion unloading a load of crap in front of Doug Ford's office in Etobicoke. Now, in case you didn't hear the audio on there, because potentially there is copyrighted music on this clip, so the audio may be missing in this clip. The guy in the clip said, quote, "Ford's plan is absolutely full of shit." Now, let me read a bit from their statement on exactly what this is about. Ford's appointed president of the ISEO, Joe Oliver, responsible for overseeing the entire Ontario energy grid, denies the scientific facts of climate science. Ford's energy minister, Doug Rickford, repeats total crap from a climate science-denying website in the Ontario legislature to support the government's cancellation of 750 renewable energy projects, which will cost taxpayers $231 million in compensation. Ford and the Conservatives just eliminated provincial funding for Hamilton's light rapid transit LRT system, crippling it and likely forcing cancellation. The province and the city of Hamilton have invested $160 million over the last 10 years into Hamilton's LRT and will now also pay enormous penalties to contractors who have begun work. Worse, more Hamiltonians will be forced to drive, emitting even more greenhouse gas emissions. Quote, "This government is attacking my family," said a new XR participant. Quote, "I have never done anything like this before, but I have to protect my family. Lack of large-scale government action is threatening all families, and we will no longer object politely," said XR spokesperson Cameron Topp. "The worst lie is that individual consumer choices would ever be enough to make the system-wide changes that are necessary." So, this is just a little taste of what Doug Ford has done on climate issues, let alone what he's done on every other issue. I mean, to truly understand how unpopular Doug Ford is. So Doug Ford right now, he has a majority government in the province of Ontario, a majority government. But only a year and a half later, this is what his popularity or lack thereof looks like. Impression of Doug Ford. So this is an Abacus data poll from December 16th, 2019. Very positive, only 8%. Mostly positive, 14%. Neutral, 12%. Mostly negative, 18%. Very negative, 44%. So 62% of people are mostly negative or very negative on Doug Ford. And again, we got about 2.5 years of this left. So, yeah. There's just been so much that this government's unleashed over their first year. I mean, they slashed labor protections. They cut 2 paid sick days. They stopped the increase in the minimum wage, so it was going to go up another $1 to $15 an hour. They stopped that a year ago. I don't know how the next 3 years are going to go. And like this idea that I'm constantly amazed that voters in Ontario are as stupid as they are. And look, I shouldn't put it on the voters. A lot of it's the media. I mean, it's the media's job to inform people. But you would think that people may catch on to understanding what the Conservatives are about. They're about deregulation, privatization, tax cuts for the wealthy. This is what they've always been about. So, I mean, a perfect example of how confused people get is that a lot of voters were angry that Kathleen Wynne privatized Ontario Hydro. Yet, if you're angry at that, you go from that to voting for the Conservatives, which are just all about privatization, all about cuts, all about deregulation, all about massive corporations. Like, people don't learn. And it's frustrating to have somebody this stupid in control, and not even just him, the party in general that is propping him up and allowing all of this to continue. I mean, this party will be absolutely destroyed in 3 years. There is no way they're going to retain a majority government. I don't think they'll keep a minority either. So at this point, you just have to think like, hopefully people remember all of this in 3 years or in 2.5 years when there's a new election. Because this is this will continue, I think. So there's been horrible moves in this first year, but I do think this will continue. So I guess it'll be kind of simple for people to, not forget about this because it'll continue happening. But at this point, are people ever going to learn what the Conservative Party is about? Now, I'm not saying like vote Liberal. There are other options, other parties in this province. You could have voted NDP. I mean, the NDP were surging before that election, but it wasn't enough to form a government here. So you have to start being active now. I think that's the real lesson here. Have these conversations now. Continue these conversations. Get involved. Maybe volunteer. Maybe donate. Like, get involved and ensure that people around you are informed about what this government is doing and who you support in 3 years or 2.5 years to replace them.